This is a rain of fire over the Israeli city of Tel Aviv. In fact, Iran's new ballistic missile is the Hypersonic, which can carry not just one or two, but anywhere from 20 to 50 small warheads. It can wreak havoc across the entire area. It is almost impossible to shoot it down. This is the US Space Force's NFPS-132 ballistic missile early warning radar system. Located in Qatar, this radar costs $1.1 billion, making it one of the most expensive in the Middle East. It's a huge radar. It was a radar. Iran's missiles have now destroyed it. This is Dubai playground, right? Middle East. These days, shahed drones. They attack here every day. And now it's become impossible to shoot down all these drones. In the Middle East, the USA is even closing its embassies one after another. Meet the USS Abraham Lincoln, a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. As of today, its price is around $7 billion. Iran claims that it targeted this aircraft carrier with its missiles. So far, the USA is denying this. They are saying that the carrier has not suffered any damage. But the fact remains that the carrier has now been moved away from Iran. Within a week, Iran is standing up to the world's most powerful country. It's a war that Iran cannot win, but it also doesn't want to lose. The question arises, how was this even possible? What is it that Iran has, which America's advanced forces, America's advanced intelligence, America's advanced weapons, and America's brave leaders failed to account for in their calculations? On February 28th, when America and Israel together attacked Iran, the whole world must have thought that America would win this war within hours. You destroyed the entire leadership, so in front of Israel, its biggest enemy would finally kneel down and surrender. But then something happened that has stunned the whole world since last week. Iran did not surrender. Iran struck back. By doing this, Iran targeted Israeli and American bases located in Gulf countries. How is this even possible? This is because Iran possesses one of the world's most advanced and lethal missile and drone arsenals. And it's not as if the United States was unaware of this fact. In fact, in March 2025, the IRGC released a video that shocked defense experts around the world. Iran actually has an entire underground missile city. There are tunnels stretching for kilometers, where every missile is stationed on its own launch platform. And no one knows how many such tunnels or how many kilometers of underground facilities Iran currently has. Remember, Iran started building these tunnels back in 1984. It is said that the rockets and drones Iran used in the first few days were actually from its old stock, which it was trying to exhaust. The real game has now officially begun. To reduce and deplete the entire stockpile of missiles intercepted by the United States and Israel. Whether Iran wins or loses with cluster munitions and hypersonic missiles doesn't really matter. What really matters to the whole world is that this is changing the very definition of war. Smart thinking is overpowering smart weapons, and other countries are taking note. That's why in today's Deshpak episode, we'll find out how Iran has managed to hold out in this war for a whole week, and how it has managed to trouble the US and Israel so much. On one side, there's the Shahed drone, which has caused America losses worth billions of dollars. How was Iran able to make these drones despite sanctions? And that too at such a low cost. Why does Israel tremble at Iran's ballistic missiles? And what other advanced missiles does Iran still have that it hasn't even used yet? And most importantly, is India learning anything from all this? Where is our own low-cost Shahed drone? After the killing of Ayat Hamim, when Iran launched its first attack with drones and missiles, American analysts must have smiled a little, thinking, is this what you'll use to take us on? These ordinary Shahed drones and these old missiles which are so slow that shooting them down is very easy. That's why the interceptors had a 97% strike rate. Iran couldn't cause much damage. But Iran was playing a different game. Now perhaps America is beginning to understand this. Preparations for a long war were already underway here. The drones and missiles that Iran was launching, Iran was making them for just $20,000 or $30,000, and the missiles it was firing could be made for $100,000 or $500,000. Meanwhile, to intercept them, America was deploying its big interceptor missiles like THAAD, Patriot, and Arrow 3, which cost at least $1 million to $15 million each. In addition to all of that, Iran was sending such a massive number of drones at once. that even if one missed, you had to launch 20 or 30 more missiles to successfully intercept it a second time. It is true that compared to America, Iran has suffered much greater losses so far. But if you look at this map, you can understand that Iran's success is no small feat either, especially since it is not considered an international ballistic superpower. It does not have intercontinental ballistic missiles. First, let's look at what challenges it faces. The fighter planes of the US Air Force patrol around Iran. They can send early warnings. Any missiles or drones launched by Iran can first be intercepted by US military bases. If they manage to get past there, the missiles and drones then pass through Syrian and Jordanian airspace. By then, the Israeli Air Force can also intercept them there, or they can be shot down right there. After that, these missiles still have to get past Israel's interceptors. Only then, maybe 2 or 4 missiles manage to reach their targets in Israel and cause some damage. So, at first glance, it seems like a lose-lose situation. All the missiles will be launched, but by the time they reach Israel, they will be shot down. But if Iran keeps doing this, without any restrictions, then very soon the US will run out of interceptor missiles to defend with. According to American defense strategy analysts, if Iran launches a drone, imagine its cost is just $1. If Iran spends $1, then to stop it, America and its allies have to spend between $20 and $28. Iran has understood this game of economics and quantity very well. According to a Bloomberg report, after the first wave of attacks, Qatar privately told the US that if Iran kept launching drones and missiles at this rate, the stockpile of Patriot interceptors would run out in 4 days, and then the situation would spiral out of control. Officially, Qatar has made it clear that it never said any such thing. They have a lot of defensive missiles. Now look, claims and counterclaims will always happen in every war. But there is one very interesting factual story that will leave you amazed when you hear it. The drone that has wreaked havoc across all the Gulf countries. Within just the 3rd or 4th day of the war, it put America on the back foot. Where did it come from? How did Iran get this technology? From where? So for that, let's rewind a little. On the 4th of December 2011, in Iran's Khorramshahr area, an American drone was found wandering and lost at a certain location. This was the Lockheed Martin RQ-170 Sentinel, which at that time was America's most advanced surveillance drone. At that time, the American government simply said, no, this drone isn't ours. But when Iran released the video of the drone, the Obama administration admitted, yes, this is indeed ours. Give it back, come on, give us our drone back. But Iran wasn't that innocent either. They had gotten their hands on this advanced technology, and there was no way they were going to give it back. On the contrary, Iran investigated this drone, reverse engineered it, and built 3 new drones based on it. The first one was named Shahed 171. It was an exact copy of the RQ-170. The second one they made was the Shahed 191. Iran made some upgrades to this one and turned it into a combat-capable drone. The third is the ordinary-looking but most deadly Shahed 136. This is the very workhorse drone that is now putting even a superpower like America on the back foot. Call it an illusion or call it Fakiri Pro Max. By using America's own technology, Iran is now able to push America back. But what I'm about to tell you now will make you say that even America copies technology. This drone troubled America so much that America itself reverse engineered the Shahed 136, made a copy of it and named it Lucas. Low cost, unmanned compact attack system, and America has even used it against Iran in Operation Epic Fury. Meaning America copied Iran's copy of an American drone and then used it against Iran. If it weren't for the tragedy of war, this would have truly become a comedy. When we look at the design of the Shahed drone, we understand how it is so simple and effective. This 200-kilogram drone can travel a distance of 2,000 kilometers at a speed of 180 kilometers per hour. Now, these are always launched in batches so that intercepting them isn't so easy. And even if some are intercepted, at least 12 will still get through. It has dual engines which allow it to fly at an altitude of 13,000 feet, and on its nose, it carries a warhead. The warhead weighs approximately 36 kilograms in weight, which creates a tremendously powerful and massive explosion upon impact, In its first wave, Iran launched the Shahed 136 drone, the Zulfikar short-range ballistic missile, one ballistic missile, and the Shahed 129 surveillance drone in rapid succession, one after another, at American and Israeli bases. And the total financial cost for the United States to intercept them was 2,200 times higher. So even if you managed to successfully intercept them, your bank balance would be almost emptied. After the first wave of attacks, the interceptor stockpiles of America and its allies are depleted, and then comes the second wave, which is quite different from the first. On March 2nd, Iran launches not only hundreds of drones from its main artillery, but also hypersonic fattah missiles, which even Tel Aviv's 10 interceptor missiles are unable to stop. In an instant, the entire area is reduced to rubble, and this attack was so massive that Israel has tried to prevent photos and videos of it from being released. Deliberately, they have tried to share images on their social media suggesting, oh no, nothing significant happened because of the missiles. There are now just massive craters left on the roads, but some photos and videos have surfaced that show the truly terrifying scene caused by these missiles. The real source of this intense terror is actually the 12-ton Fateh 2 missile. This is not an ordinary missile. It is a missile that hits its target at Mach 15 speed. If I explain to you what Mach 15 means, so if you think about it, a normal aircraft can fly at a speed of 900 kilometers per hour, but Mach 15 means that this missile travels at a speed 30 times faster than a normal aircraft. It uses liquid fuel and can change its trajectory mid-flight. That's why it's extremely difficult for any radar to track it or for any missile to shoot it down. Its range is about 1,500 kilometers, which means that not only Israel but also Gulf and American bases, as well as large parts of the Arabian Sea, can fall within its reach. Iran did not build up its missile arsenal overnight. They have been preparing for this since 1984. In 1984, in fact, during the Iran-Iraq War, Saddam Hussein fired a barrage of Scud missiles at Iranian cities, causing significant damage to Iran. In this war, around 5,000 Iranians lost their lives and more than 20,000 people were injured. At that time, Iran realized that without missiles, it could neither defend itself nor launch attacks. And in the same year, Iran began building underground missile bases. In June 1995, Iran sought help from Libya, Syria, North Korea, and China to develop missiles. In the 1990s, China played a crucial role in Iran's solid fuel missile program. According to the records of the US Treasury Department itself, the Fateh 110 missile, which is still the backbone of Iran's missile arsenal, was developed with Chinese assistance. In 1997, North Korea assists Iran. In building missiles, the Khorramshahr missile, which is one of Iran's most lethal missiles, is actually an Iranian version of North Korea's Hwasong-10, you could say. Despite sanctions, with the help of China and North Korea, Iran has built its own missile force over the past 40 years. Now, just last year, Israel got a taste of this. The conflict lasted for 12 days. In this war, Iran fired more than 550 ballistic missiles and over 1,000 drones at Israel. Even then, reports emerged that Israel's defensive interceptors were running low and it was becoming quite difficult for the United States to replenish them. Now, Iran has never admitted to this and has outright denied it. But even then, the fact remains that on the 24th of June, Donald Trump announced on social media that a ceasefire had been reached between Iran and Israel. Now, they will no longer fire missiles at each other. It's another matter that today, Iran admits that agreeing to this ceasefire last year was a mistake on its part. Iran gave America the opportunity to make more interceptors. Look, until some time ago, Israel's Iron Dome was built. The whole world used to talk about it. It used to be world famous. People used to say that if there is a defense shield, it should be like the Iron Dome, one that nothing can penetrate. Israel's defense system could actually shoot down incoming rockets at different altitudes. It could keep its population and its country safe. Now, the first in this system is the Arrow 2 missile for short-range and ballistic missiles. It destroys them in the upper atmosphere, 50 kilometers above the ground. This missile strikes its intended target traveling at a staggering speed of Mach 9 and is capable of destroying up to 14 targets at once. If any missile manages to get past this, then comes David's Sling. This system is specifically designed to shoot down missiles that have an operational range of 40 to 300 kilometers. It uses advanced stunner interceptors which employ hit-to-kill technology. Without any exclusive warhead, it destroys incoming missiles purely with its high speed. If something still manages to get through all of these, then finally comes the Iron Dome. It can intercept rockets and drones within a short range of 4 to 60 to 70 kilometers. It only intercepts and targets those missiles that are heading towards populated areas. If the computer sees that a rocket is going to fall in an empty area, it is allowed to fall there. Israel is also working on the Iron Beam now. This is a laser-based system that can destroy drones and rockets at a low cost. Along with the help of the laser beam, there is also the American THAAD for short, medium, and long range. This is the system used to shoot down ballistic missiles. This is a system that can intercept ballistic missiles both inside the Earth's atmosphere and outside the atmosphere as well. It is very advanced, but along with being advanced, it is also very expensive. Each missile costs between $12 to $15 million, so its supply is also limited. Iran is trying to defeat all these systems with a simple trick, and that is the volley firing strategy. That is, sending a mix of hundreds of drones, low-flying cruise missiles, and high-speed ballistic missiles all at once. Now, the drones serve to distract, so the interceptors get busy taking out the drones. Meanwhile, the real missiles carry out their mission. But at the same time, Iran has also started using warhead, splinter, and decoy technology. This means that along with the missile, fake decoys are sent which confuse the interceptor, while the real warhead heads off in a different direction. By the time the interceptor decides what it needs to shoot down, the missile has already accomplished its mission. The interceptor receives information from advanced radar, so Iran has done one more thing. By attacking in waves, they have started destroying the American interceptor radars themselves. For example, the AN/FPS 132 radar in Qatar. This has now been completely destroyed by Iran's attack. This $1 billion radar, which could scan up to 5,000 kilometers, as well as the THAAD radar system in the UAE, have now also been destroyed by Iran. So, on one hand, their eyes are being gouged out here, and on the other hand, the ammunition of American allies and Israel is being depleted. That's why Trump is now talking about supporting Kurdish insurgent groups in Iran. He wants to bring about regime change in Iran because smart bombs aren't getting the job done. On the first day of the war, Trump had assumed that America would win this war. He expected it to end in 23 days, but now he quietly accepts that the war can be fought forever. In itself, this is an Iranian victory. The second thing is that the Kurdish insurgents have also said that they are not going to be America's puppets anymore. They don't want your weapons, so don't try to drag us into this. Now, in this war, even Trump is unable to appear as confident in his press conferences. He sounds a bit subdued. Across the Gulf, the USMC is shutting down operations. Even there, voices are rising, blaming America for this incident. Why is it that the world's biggest superpower is unable to guarantee the security of its own citizens? The situation in the Middle East is slipping out of control. People have started protesting even in America. Even veterans are saying, why are we fighting Israel's war here? Now, here arises a question. If America is unable to stop Iran and cannot destroy all the launchers, then what will Iran do? Iran has already made it clear that as long as American and Israeli bombings do not stop, it will continue to attack the economic zones of all its neighboring countries in the region. We have already explained to you on Deshbakt about the Strait of Hormuz and how Iran has effectively blockaded it. From here, 20 to 25% of the world's oil and LNG supply is transported, which means the price of crude oil could skyrocket at any moment. And in the coming days, Iran could also use its most advanced missile. The Khorramshahr 4 is called the Big Daddy missile, also known as Kavar. Now, this is Iran's fourth generation advanced ballistic missile, which is 13 meters long, 1.5 meters wide, and weighs about 20 tons. It's a very large missile. Basically, you can think of it as launching an entire truck. Its official range is between 2,000 and 4,000 kilometers. It can be fitted with a warhead weighing between 1,500 and 1,800 kilograms. Speaking of speed, it can reach Mach 16 outside the atmosphere and up to Mach 8 inside the atmosphere. That's why the United States is currently trying to carry out carpet bombing on Iran, to destroy the launchers of such missiles by any means, so that Iran no longer has the capability to launch these missiles. Another example of smart bombs and smart thinking: Israel's multi-million-dollar jets, Israel's fighter planes, Israel's AI, Israel's intelligence, these were all destroyed. Iran's fighter aircraft that were standing on the tarmac. But in reality, these aircraft were just paintings. Israel was actually targeting the paintings. So sometimes it's missiles, sometimes cheap drones, sometimes paintings, making the enemy spend millions of dollars, causing them losses. All just by using their brains and employing guerrilla tactics. Now the question arises, Iran, the US, Russia, Turkey, China, even Pakistan, all of them have cheap, mass-produced, long-range operational drones. Why doesn't India have them? When wars in the future will be fought in the air, why don't we have such drones? It often feels good to call ourselves Vishwaguru, world leader. But when we look at reality, whether it's about our fighter jets or our drones, we don't really have much. Even during Operation Sindhu, we had to use Israel's Harop drones, which were basically makeshift drones. We can do much better. Recently, we spent $3.5 billion to buy 31 MQ-9B Predator drones. With that money, if we look at Iran's economics, we could have made 70,000 working Shahed drones. Now, the good news is that at the World Defense Show 2026 in Riyadh, India's startup New Space Research Technologies presented the Sheshnag 150. This is a long-range working drone. Sheshnag has a range of up to 1,000 kilometers, and you can exclusively fit a warhead of 25 to 40 kilograms in it. It can stay in the air for up to 5 hours. Non-stop for now. The government has not signed any deal with this startup yet. Sheshnag is still in its testing phase. But at the very least, we can take one lesson from this war, that there is now a need to further upgrade our drone program and missile program, especially BrahMos. This is the era of hypersonics and chief drone warfare. We must not fall behind in this.